That. Let's go. Oh, a lot of standing water. Third gear planted. I'm gonna swear. Fucking hell. Oh. Damn. Oh, guys. Hi guys, and welcome to Car Focused. You join me here today, a very wet, miserable day, but I'm back at Dreamscience in Hull, and today should be quite an exciting / interesting video because I am going to be driving their new development car, which is the Ford Focus ST, the Mk4. Obviously I've reviewed this car in standard form from Ford, and I thought it was an amazing package, to be fair. So I'm really intrigued to see what their new iMap they've developed for this car is like to drive on the road. They've got a number of maps already made for the car. The car I'm about to drive, which is just next to me here, is loaded up with a map. It's also lowered on H&R springs, spacers. So it should be a good day. I think what we're going to do first is we're going to head inside and speak to Jared, who is the MD of the company, the head honcho. Very knowledgeable guy. He's the one that actually takes the car out on the development runs, does all the data logging, and actually designs the map from scratch. So we'll go and have a quick chat with Jared, then hop in the car and go for a drive, stick the cameras on, and I shall try and convey to you guys exactly what the car is like to drive. Now, I did say in the last Focus ST review that I thought the package was perfect and that a map could possibly ruin the dynamics of the car, but I've been assured that it's great fun to drive. So hopefully my my mind will be changed and I will enjoy it. The only problem is that the weather is really wet. Obviously a lot of power going through the front wheels. It's dynoed at 330 horsepower. So we'll see how we get on. But the car is here, if you can just see it through there, and I'm looking forward to it. So we'll head inside and we'll speak to Jared.
Hey Gary.
Jared, how you doing, mate?
Good, welcome to Dreamscience.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
So yeah, well, obviously we're here to drive the new Mk4 Focus ST that you've got, the development car. Tell us a bit about it, the maps it's running.
Yeah, it's I think it's going to be the next big thing, just like our heritage was the ST225. We're sort of very famous, and our pedigree really shone on tuning that car worldwide. I think we took market share, so we've had a lot of pressure to come back on this ST and do the same. And to be honest, having driven that car out of the factory brand new compared to the RS and various other cars, it's definitely the most exciting.
It's an impressive package and out of the box.
It's brilliant. It's Ford's obviously listened and looked at the market and thought, you know what, let's get a couple of bites of this cherry ourselves. And the car as a package is fantastic. But the good news about that, it makes you feel like you want to tune it.
Yeah.
It feels fast. It sounds good, but you just know there's more to be had.
I mean, I said when I drove the one from Ford that I thought the power delivery, it was kind of a perfect package as it was.
Yes.
So I'm kind of hoping that the mapped car you've got here is going to kind of change my tune on that, and agree with you on the fact that more power is actually, well, more power is always good, isn't it? But
yeah, I'll reserve my comments until you've actually tried it. But I think you'll be overwhelmed, because I know when you tested the RS, you're famous for saying, "Oh wow."
Yeah.
I think
got a few wows out of that. Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm as bold to say, with the map, that car's going to upset quite a few RS customers.
You think?
As standard. Yeah. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's a great package.
So the car we got outside, what map is that running? What are the figures?
We've made 3 maps for the car. We have Performance Plus, which is, we have a lot of people, in, for example, Ireland and other countries that can't get to like higher octane fuel, so they want a 95 octane fuel. Okay. Flex fuel, whatever you want to call it. So that's what the Performance Plus is based on. Still a healthy map. It still punches 300 horsepower just above, so it's a nice increase. 340 foot-pounds of torque. Not
too shabby.
It's a nice flat torque curve as well, so it's really controlled. It feels factory-esque, but obviously you're making more power and more torque all the way to the red line, so it is a good step up. So a good everyday tune. Bit boring for me. The next one up is the DS Ultima. We use this word Ultima from our ST250 tuning days, and that is designed for your 97s upwards, so your BP Ultimates, which I think if you drive these days everywhere, BP's cropping up everywhere, so you can get your 97 octane. Obviously it's better on 98 and 99, but from 97 onwards, and that's a pretty punchy map. It's 315 horsepower peak, and about 345, 350 foot-pounds of torque. You'll notice on these cars as well, all the maps are very linear, meaning on the older EcoBoost cars at peak RPM, there's not much duty cycle left on the turbo to get more peak power. This car is very different, so it makes more power all the way.
So it's quite strong all the way up.
The standard power line and the map power line never meet. They always stay more or less equidistant to the well, with our maps anyway.
And you've tested these on your rolling road, haven't you?
Yeah,
so you've got all...
they were developed on the rolling road, tested on the road. Endless amounts of testings, as we always do.
Yeah.
But we're glad to say we are actually first to market this time, because we've all really got behind this.
So it's exciting times.
The most exciting thing is the map that's on the car now, which is the top map, the DS Ultima Plus. That's 99 octane fuel only. And that's a good 330 plus horsepower peak.
Sounds good.
380 foot-pounds of torque.
So that's your Tesco your V-Power.
Yeah, Tesco Momentum, those sort of fuels only. What I would say about this car, as a standard configuration, it's absolutely brilliant. You don't need to do anything to it. Majority of people will just buy a handset, they'll map the car, they've got a few maps to try, etc. But if someone's ever going to go the next step and do a bolt-on mod, which we all do it, that's why we're in the business, right? The intercooler would be the thing, because it's such a small intercooler as standard. It's literally a 6-core intercooler. It's tiny. It's doing a fairly good job, but on the higher boosting maps, we're fine at this time of year. But in the summer months, you'll notice if you do 2 or 3 hard pulls, you will get a little feel of like some of the power sapping away. It's still safe, because obviously we integrate timing retard, etc., where it won't allow it to detonate. But I would strongly recommend, if someone's going to keep the car for a few years and they want the most out of it, especially mid to peak power, an intercooler, and our intercooler will be ready in a few weeks. Do some more testing.
Okay.
I'm very confident we'll get a positive side of 350 horsepower.
So it's obviously quite early days in the tuning world with this car. So the car I'm going to drive today, that's just running the panel filter.
Yep, it's got a panel filter from Piper. It's one of the first ones out. It's got that's the only engine modification. It's running Shell V-Power fuel. It's lowered on H&R springs. It's the first set in the world. We tested them yesterday. It's a 35mm drop.
It looks lovely.
And it's got the KW 12.5mm spacers, which are interchangeable to the RS Mark III. So we had those in stock, so we just chucked them on.
Excellent.
And we've got a little Maxton Designs skirt at the front.
So are you going to be offering a handling pack for this Focus like you did with the Mark III?
Yes, we'll
obviously I came
all the
and
same
had that.
stuff. There's handling packs, stage packages, absolutely everything is going to be the next big thing.
So you could literally bring your stock ST here and then drive away with it looking nice and having a nice chunk of more power. Okay, so obviously it has no bolt-on mods at the minute. Is it a safe map to run as it is? There's no issues with reliability or...
Yeah, I was showing you earlier when we test the car, we obviously tested on the road, and we started testing, it was actually end part of summer, it was still really hot, so we've had it in hot conditions and now in cold conditions, where we've had it on the dyno. And I showed you some of the data logs where we log very important parameters to ensure safety. Most thing would be knock, because obviously it has individual knock sensors, and you never want to see a car pulling too much timing on the knock sensor, because it means it's going to detonate, because the car
which is a bad thing.
It is. Well, the way it works is the knock sensor picks up a frequency before knock happens. It's called the pre-resonance of knock. So when it detects that, it pulls a set amount of timing, and it does it in stages at half-second intervals or whatever we calibrate it to do. So when we do these cars, more often than not, we will actually reduce the standard timing map because of the extra boost. You can dilute that slightly with a bit of extra fuel. I'm not giving away too many secrets here.
But it is more than whacking up the boost, isn't it? As a lot of people you hear on the internet, oh, they've just whacked up the boost, but it's clearly more to it than that.
It's so much more. It's a full calibration, so obviously it feels like a factory. You'll see when you drive it. It feels like it should have come out the factory if you can get the power down, because it's raining. Sure.
I know, I'm gutted about that.
But yeah, no, it's a full factory calibration with every single parameter checked, double checked, triple checked. We literally run after run till it's baking hot. Absolutely test every ultimate condition.
When is this map going to be released to the general public?
It's available now, but we're releasing officially on the 1st of December. The handset will come out. It's called the iMap E6. It's different to the normal iMap, because from Euro 6 onwards, different ECUs, different strategies to talk to the ECU. So there's the Mark 8 Fiesta, the Mustang S650, and the Mark 4 Focus ST all run an iMap called an iMap E6. It's very clear on our website, but it'll come out with 3 tune files. Simple plug and play, get it through the post, plug it in, read your codes, put the tune on, jobs are good.
So easy.
Put it back to stop. It doesn't reset your ignition counter either, so effectively it's not...
because that's a big question, because obviously people with warranties... tuning the cars, they do worry if they take it into Ford for work that it's going to be detected, but as far as you're aware, it's not detectable, is it?
Yeah, as far as we're aware. I mean, we've never had a problem in 12 years. We have quite a unique firmware on our handset, which doesn't leave the door open, for want of a better word, once things are all finished. It leaves off just as it's like making your bed in the morning. You come home, it's still made. No one knows any different. The three big bears have been sleeping in the bed.
No, well, I think you've answered all the questions that I've got. I think the next thing we need to do is take the car out for a spin. Yep. And see if I can get some wows out of it. But
I would say, just to finish off, and I know we touched on this earlier, when the general public start reading on whichever car, actually this one or going forward, is, let's say we release a map that's 330. Unfortunately, the market is such now where our competition will look at it and think, well, we can't really go in at 325, which is what we've made, so we're going to have to go in at 340. And then suddenly someone else comes in at 350. And like I showed you earlier, an engine is still an engine. It doesn't matter the complex interface behind it. Once you've achieved four things: wide open throttle, a closed wastegate, optimum timing, and optimum fueling, there's no magic X factor table that suddenly makes another 30 horsepower or another 20 horsepower or another 50 horsepower. Once you log that car and your wastegate's closed, your throttle's full, your timing's optimum, so there's no intervention, and your fueling's where you set it. That's it.
That's it.
There's no magic. So please don't believe that, oh well, we've got an extra 50 horsepower on this map. I'll bet this business on that, on my dyno. That's not the case.
But the proof is on the dyno. I'm very
passionate about that, but we sit here watching the forums and it's just like, oh my god. But like we were talking earlier, there's only 4 or 5 companies in Europe that start from scratch, and we're one of them. We get the cars in, we create a firmware, we make an interface, we work in binary and hexadecimal coding. We find the tables, we have a contact where we get the A to L file so we can look up the tables, we make the changes, we data log, we do everything from scratch ourselves. We release, and then obviously shock 2-3 weeks later, several other people release.
So you're not buying a handset, sticking Dreamscience on it, and then, no, there's a lot more to it than that.
There's a lot more to it.
Okay, mate. Yeah, well, thank you very much for your time. I've always found you guys really helpful, really friendly, never had a problem at all. Looking forward to getting in the car, and I shall come back and update you on my results.
Enjoy and hold on.
Right, guys, so here we are behind the wheel of the Dreamscience powered Mk4 Focus ST. As we've already explained in the introduction with Jared, this is running the Ultima Plus map. This is a big 330 horsepower map. Unfortunately, the roads are wet, but the roads were wet last time I tested the Focus ST, the standard one. So it'd be interesting to see if these Pilot Sport 4S tyres can handle the amount of power this car is running, and if we can get traction. But I've been told to put it in sport mode and put the ESC in sport mode as well, so it's not grappling with the power too much. Get it on a straight bit of road and plant the accelerator. So there is a slip road here, we're in second gear. Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus. I don't want to say wow, because I got roasted for saying wow too many times in the last video, but second gear kind of felt a bit limited, but as soon as I got into third, wow, yeah, this absolutely took off. And I know what Jared was saying by the power at the top, how it just keeps on going. I found it a little bit with the stock car. It gets to a certain point, like 4,000 or 5,000 revs, and it just has a second wind, and this car just amplifies that second wind. So fourth gear. Yes, that is strong. That is strong. And most importantly, it's smooth. The Ultima 2 Plus I had on the RS, it had that initial kind of lag when you accelerated. This car doesn't have that. Jeez, man. Yeah, it pulls, it rips. It rips. And you can kind of feel, obviously on these wet roads, it's not braking traction as such, but it's close. It's close to braking traction. The front end goes a little bit light, where the front wheels are trying to find that bit of grip, but it's not spinning. and there's not too much torque steer. I think what'll be interesting, the interesting test will be to get on some country roads, and that is the plan in the latter part of this video. But I do apologise, by the way, for the lack of external shots in this video, because it's just raining. I can't get the cameras out. They're going to get wet, so we're going to have to make do with what we've got in here, unfortunately. Yeah. Whoa. Little bit of wheel spin there in second gear, as expected. I tell you what, on this handling pack, it still feels factory tight. Sometimes when you lower cars, they can feel a little bit sloppy, but on these H&R springs, the ride is pretty much the same as it was in the standard car that I drove. It's definitely not any firmer, but it looks amazing from the outside on these springs and with these spacers. Yes, it's definitely good up top. It's funny because some turbo powered tuned cars, they have the shove of torque at the start, and that's where most of the power is. Like on my Mark II RS, you've got all the power at the start and then it dies off up the top, but this is the other way around. I mean, it does take off when you accelerate, but you get most of the power at the top, so you can really rev it out, a bit like an NA car. Oh. No, not on this tarmac soaking wet surface. So I think we've had a play on some straights. I think I need to get out on some back roads, see what it's like powering through corners, see if it understeers more now, and put it to the real test on some nice twisty roads. Right, got to clear this tractor. We've got the power to do so, and we've got a corner, yes! Right, a lot of standing water, but let's just see if we can modulate this throttle out this corner. And boom, off we go. I tell you what, this is keeping me alert, this car. This thing is bags of fun. Absolute bags. It's relentless. The power delivery is relentless. You can't exploit it all on a road like this, because by the time you go into the top of the rev range, you've run out a straight road, you've got a corner, which is perfect. You can really hold the gears for a long time as well. Second gear around this. Bit of wheel spin there. Probably could have done that in third, to be honest, and just rode the torque. This is a nice little road, actually. Nice little road. Right, second gear again. Give it a little bit round the corner. Oh yeah, a bit of understeer there, but as you expect when you've got all that power pushing the front of the car along. Oh man, I tell you what, I love it. From like 4,000 revs onwards, I'm in love. And we're stuck behind another lorry or something. I will say though, guys, much like the standard car in relation to power delivery, you need to really plant the foot all the way to the floor. I know it sounds quite obvious, but sometimes when you're pushing on in the car, you're not actually pushing the accelerator all the way to the floor. But with the way this car is mapped from the factory and mapped with the Dreamscience, to exploit the whole package, you've really got to pin it all the way down. It's surprising how much of a difference that actually makes. Right, I'm going to overtake this vehicle now. Let's go. Nice little road, this. Nice little road. Over a crest. So to find any negatives about this, it would be nice if there was just a little bit more up and go initially on the lower revs. So like now, you just have to wait a little bit for the turbo to spool up. So when you do find yourself accelerating out of a bend, if you haven't already loaded up the throttle mid-corner, you do have to wait just a little bit for things to spice up slightly. But it's only a minor criticism. It's just a bit of turbo lag. So you've just got to be a bit more planned with your throttle application as you exit the bend. You need to preload it. These roads are really nice. But also this standing water isn't helping because the wheels are aquaplaning slightly as you do accelerate. But yeah guys, this car is a mega piece of kit. Fourth gear is just, oh man. Fourth gear is too fast for this road. I will still say though, this car is incredibly capable in the wet. Don't be put off by the fact it's front wheel drive, it is still very capable. It's just so nimble on its feet and it doesn't feel heavy on these roads. It just, I don't know, it's just a proper blast on a back road. Some cars can feel quite heavy, quite nose heavy. Just skirting around these roads, it feels absolutely spot on. It's just an animal. Also amplified by the fact I've been driving my 1.8 TDCi around quite a lot because the Mark II's just sat in my garage. It makes these cars feel even more special. Yeah guys, what a car, what a car. Also, did you know you can flat shift in the Focus ST? So third gear into fourth, yeah? It's actually a factory feature. So you can change gear like that if you've got the quick left foot and the quick left hand. But yeah, nice little feature that, flat shifting. You know what this package is? This package is definitely a bit of me because I'm an OEM plus kind of person. All my cars are normally OEM plus. The way this car looks, the way this car drives with the power delivery, it is OEM plus. It's so smooth on the power, but it's just so quick. It's not like savage, dangerous, it's torque steering all over the road, it's spinning up in every gear. It's just a really nice, usable, quick load of power. Bloody hell, man, it really does pick up and go. This definitely, I mean, in this form now, it's definitely quicker than a stock RS. There's no question about it, definitely. First and second gear, yeah, the RS would have it, because obviously the traction in an RS is second to none, four-wheel drive. When you get this thing into third, up and rolling, I think it's going to upset a few RS owners out there. Oh, Jesus. Right guys, this weather isn't getting any better, so I think I need to take this car back before I get too carried away. So yeah, absolutely brilliant package. It's a no-brainer in my eyes. I'm not just saying that. Can't really find fault with it. It's very smooth, OEM plus. Feels like a factory map with that extra bit of brake horsepower. And what's not to like about that? So yeah guys, as always, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you very much indeed for watching. And I hope that Jared has answered most of the questions that you probably would have put in the comment section below. I hope he's already answered those at the start of the video. Until the next one, take care and I shall see you soon.